Was it something I said? Good morning, everyone. All right, Thursday, June 29th. There might be just a kind of a couple of things. There might be a couple of gaps in what's uploaded, to the YouTube channel. I'm behind, and so I'll get caught up today. I'm not going to Edmonton today. I'm just at home today. And my dad is doing much better. So just to let everyone know, thank you again for the prayers. He's off of everything. So had a massive heart attack on Monday. It's interesting, a timeline, right? Massive heart attack on Monday. We were asked to call in our family because they didn't think they would make it through the night. It certainly was a moment by moment, hour by hour. On Wednesday, so he's off of everything. It's it's interesting to observe others people's reaction to miracles, right? And so that's really what it's been about, is what witnessing the miracle and not needing. Thank you, Anne. Not requiring that. Maybe that's a better word. An explanation. And yesterday we had people coming in who were down. So my dad was on a lower floor, and who came up because they had heard about this miracle case in the cardiac ICU, and the nurse came up. One of the nurses came up that actually did CPR on him, and she was saying, "I was hoping it was your dad." And so she was saying how she was one of the. There was, I guess, 10 people that worked on my dad. They took turns with CPR on him. So all in all, such an amazing opportunity for observation, like any opportunity that we have. And I think I really wasn't sure this morning what my message was. There's two messages that I received this morning. One was to just relax into whatever was to unfold. Usually in my process, I'm guided, I'm given like a little bit of information what I was to share. And this morning the message was to trust that when I got on here that I would know, I would be guided as to what to say. So when I say I would know, I'm not talking from an intellectual perspective, but the knowing, that my intuition. And I find it interesting that my ego got a little bit involved and almost demanded that I figure it out before I got on. So I observed that. I observed my ego demanding to figure stuff out beforehand, and then just allowing the opportunity to not, right? So that was one message. The other message is that to ask all of you, where you're at, maybe some of the challenges or obstacles or celebrations that you're having. And so that's the second part of it. And so I'll start with the first part. And the first part is being awareness is the first piece to everything. And we know that, like I will say, we intellectually understand that. We intellectually understand that awareness is the key. And there is, what I'm observing is there's another layer to awareness, which is being aware that you're in awareness. So it's like observing that you're in awareness. And the opportunity there is, I think, many, but the two that I can sense today to share is when you're aware that you're in awareness, so you're observing that you're in awareness, a sense of peace. And I'll use peace and serenity have been my words for a very long time. And so that's why I use my words. It's important, of course, as you know, to use your words. And so peace and serenity come for me, and I think, well, something along that same nature is available to you when you observe the awareness or observe the observing. it is this sense of understanding at a deeper level. And what I mean by that is at a non-intellectual level, an understanding of a non-intellectual level, that all throughout every moment of every day, we have a choice of how we want to respond, or if, we want to respond, or what we want to respond to. Knowing that we can have the opportunity to be attached to the outcome, or we can let go of our attachment to the outcome and just be. And this is just coming to me, this I don't fish, so this is kind of funny. So my mom and dad love fishing, and so the one time I went fishing with them, we were sitting in the fishing boat, and there's all of these different fishing hooks for different fish. And so, we there's, I don't even know, like a pike hook and a trout hook, and they're meant to do different things, right? And so I had said to my mom, she was putting, I think, a trout hook. I'll just say that. She's putting one hook on. And I said to her, well, what happens if another fish, like if you catch a pike? And so, well, that will never happen, because a trout hook is for trout, and so I was like, oh, okay. Well, be damned if she caught not a trout. That's right. And then, she laughed, and she said, and my mom uses different words than manifesting, but she's like, well, look at that. You totally saw that coming. And so then, she brings the fish in. Not once did she consider like being upset or angry that she didn't get what she wanted. She went fishing, she got a fish. Not once did she consider throwing it back. Not once did she consider quitting because she didn't get the right fish. And so I guess the story I'm being shared here is life could be like that, right? We have an intention. I'm going to fish. I'm looking for trout. I put my line in, and be damned if I don't get, trout. I get whatever I had said, pike, pickerel, whatever, pickerel. But as a human being, a lot of us are attached. Excuse me, my throat is doing its thing today. As a human being, we get attached to the result. Not always, and not all of us, but the human species gets attached to the result when we're out fishing. And what if it could just be the sheer delight of doing the thing, the sheer delight of whatever, the relationship, the sheer delight. And I'll use delight that's coming to me in my human design. When I'm in my design, and I'm out of my conditioning, I experience delight. If I'm out of my out of my conditioning, I experience delight. If I'm in my conditioning, I'm experience disappointment. And so what if we treated life like that? That every time you went to go do something, and you just were enjoy, peace and serenity, delight, surprise, felt successful in whatever capacity, because you were doing the thing that you love. You were doing the thing that you love. So the question that I'm hearing is, well, what if you're doing something you don't love? So then how can you look at it? How can you look at the opportunity and love what you're doing in that moment? In that moment, right? Like I don't really love dusting, but I have all dark furniture. So dusting is, I have a lot of dusting in my house to do, right? And so, how could I create delight in desting? It's possible. Anything is possible. And so for you, just thinking about that, if you're, in business, we're fishing, and don't take it into the deeper level of we're trying to hook somebody and we're trying to get something, but just the general sense of we're doing something, right? We're taking action and creating the experience in the action that we're taking. So how do you need to show up differently to create the experience in what's happening, to create the experience in the action that you're taking, and letting go of the attachment, whether it happens to be, right, a trout or a pickerel, right? The only time I've seen my parents throw a fish back when it's been too small, and not because it was too small to eat, but rather it was better for the industry, like better for the fish, if you allow the fish to grow to adulthood so it can have babies. That's why they throw it back, not because it's not good enough, right? Because the end result, that they think about the bigger picture, right? My mentor used to say to me, all the time, that if in my impatience to have what I wanted now happen now, I was missing out on the experience, and I was missing out on the big picture. And if all I focused on was the destination, then I really would miss the journey, right? And the story that's coming to share with you, all of you, is, if any of you have driven through any type of mountains, like in Canada here, we have the Rocky Mountains, which is absolutely breathtaking. And, when you're driving through the Rocky Mountains, I've had both experiences where, I have a destination to get to, so I'm going and I can appreciate the mountains, I can be in awe of the mountains, or I can just drive through. And sometimes even in the awe, it doesn't necessarily mean I have to stop, at every section. Although when I'm appreciating the journey, that's really what I want to do. I want to pause. I want to contemplate. I want to celebrate. And if we just focus on getting there, what are we not missing out? Not as in FOMO, fear of missing out, but what are we perhaps not experiencing, not seeing, not sensing, not hearing, not tasting? Because we're so determined to achieve, to get to the goal. Again, getting not necessarily in the limited language from a lack perspective, but at the intention, like the impatience that we have. And not everyone is impatient, but in general, my experience when we're manifesting, when we're creating and manifesting, is this impatience to get to the end destination versus really experiencing the opportunity, right? Even think about if you have kids, I remember once when I think Jacob was 2 and Mackenzie was 4, turning 4. And I said to my friend, this is such a hard time. Like, I wish they would just kind of, I think I even said, I wish that they would just like grow up a little bit. And my friend said, oh, do not wish that at all. They will grow up fast. And she said, just savor every single moment, because you'll look back when they're older, and she said, and wish that you spent more time being in the moment rather than wanting them to behave a certain way. And I thought that was great advice. So then, I would say I did my best to try to be in the moment with the two of them, not wanting or wishing away time, right? And so the same thing now, we have this opportunity to just, I think sometimes what happens is we think that if we're taking our time, that means we're not taking inspired action. Like, we're just sitting on the sidelines. And it's not about sitting at the sidelines or not, it's about observing. So the observation of the journey. versus the judgment and trying to hurry through all the things because we have a goal, an intention, a desire that we would like to be fulfilled. I'm going to pause there, and tomorrow I'm going to revisit something called the terror barrier, which I learned from my mentor, and it's just a really cool diagram to share with you about what happens to us when we make a decision to up level, right, to quantum leap, and to have, have the miracle, in our life. And I'll share that information. At this moment in time, I'm just gonna stop, and I'll stop the recording as well.